Hello, Dee here, and I'm thrilled to be here again talking about burnout to blossom. So I'm a little early, and this is going to be short. Last time I posed the question, is burnout a thing? And we're very clear burnout is a thing. I also posited that burnout is experienced differently by women than men. We're socialized into a different way of being. I also suggested that we can burn out even doing work that we love, that we're passionate about, that we're committed to. And I finished last time by suggesting or inviting you to take one small step that would help you to stay away from burnout and move towards blossoming. Just one tiny intentional act every day to remind you that you're a human being, not a human doing. You're a human being, not a machine. In our 21st century living, with our obsession with over busyness, we need these reminders. So today, I wanted to talk about three things we need to know when we're focusing on burnout. Now, remember, I'm talking all the time about a continuum from full burnout to blossoming. And always, we are always at some point on that continuum. And it doesn't matter whether I'm fully blossoming or fully burnt out. There is always some work, some support we can give ourselves to sustain ourselves. So today I wanted to talk about three things we need to know about burnout. Here's the first. It is not your fault. It's not a failing. Very often, those of us in leadership, those very experienced in supporting others to blossom rather than burn out, can find ourselves stuck and slipping down that road of depletion and overwhelm. It's not our fault. Let that sink in. The second thing to note is that there are different sources of our burnout. Let's simplify it and say there's external reasons for us to burn out, things that happen in the world about which we have no control. The awful unfolding situation in Ukraine, the devastation of our world through climate change, economic crisis, COVID. We can't change those things. So, as they impinge upon our mental well being, there are specific responses to that. And there's internal burnout, and that's the burnout that's caused by the thinking in my head. I'm catastrophizing about something that might happen. I'm ruminating about some mistake I made, something that happened in the past. And in a way, my head is spinning and spinning on the awful thing that might happen or the perceived terrible thing that did happen. And I'm locked up in that kind of negative thinking. That's a big cause of internal burnout. And it too has specific things that we can do to address that. So, knowing what kind of sources are causing our burnout is really important. So, burnout is not my fault. I can really help myself when I identify what's the source of my burnout. Is it the awful boss? Is it the awful inner critic within me beating myself up? What's driving me towards depletion? And the third thing that I wanted to share today about burnout is that, like last time, I don't need to assume that I can roll back the clock and change everything immediately. The answer, the solution, the pathway is one tiny step. And I want to suggest one tiny step. I'm going to sneeze today. And that is the next time over the week, excuse me, that you find yourself second guessing yourself, feeling bad about something you've done or something you failed to do, some mistake, some absence, some lashing out. The next time you feel that, instead of unleashing your inner critic, here's a suggestion. Use this phrase, how very human of me. You forget to do something. How very human of me. You're rude or unkind. How very human of me. You do a poor job on writing a report or something. How very human of me. You didn't get through your to-do list today. How very human of me. Just using those words brings us in touch with that compassionate side of ourselves that we so easily make available to others, but we're so challenged at making available to ourselves. So I learned this phrase from a coach I was working with during the summer. She learned it from somebody else and can't remember the source, but it's powerful. How very human of me. One tiny step that brings us into an awareness of the challenge we're living through and brings us in touch with the compassionate side of ourselves that we easily make available to others and allows us to begin to experience that compassion for ourselves. How very human of me. Yes, burnout is a thing. Yes, us women experience burnout differently than men. Yes, we can burn out even when we're doing the work that we love and we're so passionate about. And no, we can't wipe it all away with one fell swoop. It's a pathway of small intentional actions. Last time I invited you to ritualize some intentional action every day that reminds you that you are human. You're a human being, not a human doing. And today I'm inviting you to remember that each time you're in a moment of frustration or depletion or making a mistake or feeling ashamed or feeling that you've left something undone, use the phrase, how human of me. I invite you and I challenge you to try that for the next week. Would love to hear how you find it. Till next time, thanks a million for being here. Bye bye.